Eugene here. Let's take a look at what happened last night and how the results will make an influence. A Republican-controlled House of Representatives, the most likely result could dismantle the committee investigating the 6th of January 2021 riot. Committee has long sought to connect Mr. Trump to the riot. The committee recently issued a legal summons ordering him to testify before it. The 2022 U.S. midterm election results strayed from the pattern of almost every midterm since World War II, which normally shrinks the footprint of the party in power in both chambers of Congress. Republicans made modest gains, but Democrats performed better than expected as control of the Senate hinged on three races that remained too close to call on Wednesday morning. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers narrowly won re-election defending his seat against Republican construction magnate Tim Michels, who had promised to enforce a 19th-century abortion ban that Evers is challenging in court. Maine Governor Janet Mills won a second term running on a platform that emphasized health care, especially her support for abortion rights. Newly elected Pennsylvania Democrat Josh Shapiro will have the power to block or advance efforts by the Republican-led state legislature to severely restrict abortions. U.S. midterm elections held world markets in thrall as investors assume policy gridlock will emerge as the winner. Global stock markets seem priced for a Republican sweep of both the House of Representatives and the Senate. However, with 45 races still uncalled, the Republican margin could go up or down depending on the outcome. Investors are waiting to see if inflation data will spur the Federal Reserve to continue to increase interest rates well into next year to curtail inflation. A stronger showing by Republicans may have backed the idea of less fiscal support and potentially a lower peak in the Fed's terminal rate, which would have been dollar negative. The dollar was also supported by a bout of risk aversion ahead of Thursday's inflation report. Bitcoin was 1013 lower at 1,680,983, just off the two-year low of 1,645,298 touched earlier in the session. U.S. midterms will not lead to a revolution in U.S. foreign policy and an end to Washington's support for Ukraine, says Russian Senator and foreign policy specialist Alexei Pushkov. However, the Biden administration will find it more difficult to push financial aid programs to Kyiv through Congress, and the position of U.S. critics of unlimited aid to Ukraine will markedly strengthen. RIA news agency columnist Pyotr Akopov also forecast that Russia would be the real winner of the U.S. midterms because the vote would deepen political divisions ahead of the 2024 presidential election. Washington Sargrad predicted that the U.S. would not keep prosecuting its Ukraine policy if such a dramatic scenario unfolded. Republican voters in Arizona, Georgia and Michigan who Reuters interviewed on Tuesday, most of whom brought up their distaste for Trump unprompted. Unscientific polling indicates that tens of millions of Republicans share the same view. A divided government in Washington is ostensibly bullish for equities, said Stephen Innes, managing partner of SPI Asset Management, in a note. Gridlock crosschecks each party's worst impulses and less activist fiscal policy is conducive to lower market volatility. Only 12 of the 53 most competitive races had been decided, raising the prospect that the final outcome may not be known for some time. Early results suggested Democrats would avoid the type of wipeout election that some in the party had feared given the sagging approval rating and voter frustration over inflation. Both parties notched victories in competitive districts. Crime, a major focus in Republican messaging in the campaign's final weeks, was the top issue for just about 1 in 10 voters. Local officials reported isolated problems including a paper shortage in a Pennsylvania county.